not duplicating. All right, here we go. We should be live streaming.
Yes, we are.
Yay. All right, let me move this. There we go. I pinned myself.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. Let's just let people come in here. Anybody coming into the studio?
Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Linda.
Hello, hello. If anybody else says hello, hello.
Yes.
Alicia. Nice. All right. Ooh, we're just going to give it a few minutes here and let people kind of come in. I'm just going to expand the energy here. My beautiful co-host, Rayania, and I did a little bit of opening of the energy prior, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for everybody here as people are coming in. Nice. Nice to see from Berlin. Hello. Awhile. Okay, let's just expand this energy here. There's a lot of energy today. Just going to bring this, we're just going to expand this container of light. I'm going to call forward the highest and best for all concerned. Whatever wants to come through with grace and ease. Beautiful. There's a lot of energy. You know, there's a lot of energy anyway. I feel like that these last few days have been from, it seems like, you know, I don't know, it seems longer than a week ago since I was here, but wow, a lot has been going on in the energy in the last week. I feel like that there's just so many God codes coming in. The veils are lifting so much and thinning, and you know, the experience feels to me that all of your stuff is just coming up. It's just coming up in waves and layers, and you know, so much of things that we thought we've dealt with that have been in the past that are coming up and up and up and up, you know, more and more and more. And so this is why I think the timing's perfect, you know, for this and for this series of wherever it's going to go. Today, I got the topic control, and I was kind of sitting with it, and it's been pondering since I got the topic a few days ago. And I feel like what I want to start with, and I've talked about this a little bit, is I really want to go over again the actual creative process. And I know I talked about this a little bit in I think the first video, and I've definitely talked about it many, many different times with people. But what wants to come through is, you know, we are consciousness. You know, we are creator beings. We create. Of course, we can create with our hands, but we literally create with our energetics. And as consciousness is different from the conscious mind. It is energy, it is frequency, it's information. So as source consciousness, if you think of source God, if you will, is like this giant library of information. It's really infinite calibrations of geometries. And if we think of geometry as just like circles, squares, triangles, that's what source consciousness is, just infinite calibrations of this. And but we can just say like a library of information, and you are a smaller library of the giant library, and so am I. But you're unique to me. So you're unique on your own, which means you don't have to find your uniqueness. All you have to do is discover it on your own. And you discover it on your own by showing up, by having authentic experiences. And that's also how we create. And I'm going to explain a little bit of why that's important. So how we engage in a physical experience, a physical body, is we take this giant library of information called you. It's basically like your soul. And it's like the software in the computer. So the software tells the computer what to do. So you are basically the software to this body, and the brain is like the hardware. It's like the computer. So you take we download it into the brain, and then it communicates to the body. And think of the body as like a giant mall of people. And so I'm either going to be in synergistic communication or not. What am I doing? I'm communicating, because we are communicating with the cellular body, but we don't recognize that we're doing that. And that's why there's just so many things happening within the physical body, within our physical lives. And why this is important is because as an actual creator being, your thought and your emotion is what is creating. So every single thought comes out of your head as a geometric shape, and that thought is the blueprint of your creation. It's the mental masculine. It's basically like the paper. You add an emotion to that thought. The emotion is the spiritual feminine. It's the creator creation. It's the person in the pencil. So you take this thought, you add an emotion, you hold it for 14 seconds or longer, and then it moves into the unified field, which is the place of, all frequencies. The emotion creates a frequency. Then it becomes a match to that frequency, goes out into the universe, and comes back into reality. So literally, you are creating as a creator being from your thought and your emotion. When we talk about the idea of control, and this is where this has come in for me, is to take this a little bit deeper, because I've talked about before the process of your thought and your emotion and holding it 14 seconds. But, there's a momentum that takes place in order to create what we desire and who we are. And, yes, any thoughts that you're holding for 14 seconds or longer with an emotion to it, it does come into your reality, it creates. But what is it that we're really creating? And what is the emotion that we're actually giving it? Because we have an idea of what we're giving, but what's really playing out, and to what degree, and this is what wants to start to unfold, is this idea of, what am I really doing here? Because, the entire existence of you is right here. Okay. This is the millionaire. This is the relationship. Everything is right here through this vehicle. And, we have all this idea, there's all this stuff out here, and we have all these things going on and all this different things in the world. But it's like, how much of, your reality, your life is your own thought processes, your own emotions, your own creativity, your own decision making? How much is going on? Like, we don't even realize how much is not even my own decision making of what I'm doing. And what came forward was, this idea of being comfortable or uncomfortable. If we realize that we're frequency and energy, right? And so when the whole way in which human existence, all of human existence, all we're doing is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. That's it. Everything is frequency and energy. Your clothes, your room, everything. And so we're just matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. But how much of that matching frequency are you doing on your own? Or how much is happening to you in order for you to find your place of comfort? Okay. And I can feel there's some things. So what I want to bring in this is this idea that if you are anywhere, if you're around someone, and, my goal and my idea is, I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what. I'm going to feel, I'm going to let go. I'm going to be in authentic present moment experience. And first of all, how do I do that? Well, I've got my feet on the floor. I'm looking out my eyes. I'm literally in the brand new moment. I'm in my room. I'm in my actual space. I'm not in my head. Okay. Because typically we think that we're in the present moment, but we're actually in our head, and we're dialoguing, we're thinking. So I'm going to actually allow myself to be present. And how do I do that? Is I have the personal dialogue that I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what. I'm just going to show up. I'm going to breathe. Because remember, this is the whole, everything is through this vehicle. So am I tensing? Am I holding? What am I doing? Those are all frequencies. Those are all energy. If I'm doing that, then I'm in some type of energy and frequency. I'm not in the brand new. Okay, the brand new is unknown. It's the no thing and all possibilities. So I'm like fully relaxed. I'm let go. So this is the practice. So I'm gonna let go. So say you practice that and you're actually able to be in the present moment. And it's really, like I said, it's a brand new moment. There's no thing there. And you come near another person, and maybe you feel like, you need to do something for them or help them or something. And you're not even recognizing it. It's like, well, what happened? There's a control mechanism that begins to happen from the subtle communication, the more silent communication of energy that's radiating out of everyone. And this is happening when we're not present. We're in our heads, we're dialoguing, and we think that dialoguing is somehow quiet. It's not quiet. It's very loud, and it's actually expressing itself. And if you are somebody who is unfamiliar, let's say, with your own place of being present, and if we're, which we are, we're guided to be in fear in the unknown instead of being in excitement in the unknown, what can happen is you can get around somebody, you can have your heart completely open and be in the present moment and decide, okay, I'm just gonna be here, and suddenly you're finding yourself like needing to take care of them or offer them something or do something. And what you're not noticing is that you're doing that because somewhere you're feeling uncomfortable. And instead of you allowing yourself to be uncomfortable, to just notice that, you're pulling in that energy that other person is sending out subliminally to you. And then you're creating a certain level of comfort really for them more than you. And then there's this, you're being kind of puppeted around. And so let me explain that a little bit more, because I think this is important, and it just wants to come through. And one thing about me is just remember that for those who don't know, I'm actually speaking to you on many, many different levels to bring this information to you. So I'm bringing it through in a verbal dialogue, but I'm also bringing it through in an energetic to help you kind of get just another level of noticing, am I really present in what happens to me? So remember what I said to you is everything's about matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. Well, part of that, by universal law, faster moving frequencies always try to raise slower ones up. That's just what happens. And so, if we think about frequencies simply as emotions, and, if you and I come around each other, and if I'm happy and you're mad, what's going to happen is I'm going to irritate you because I'm vibrating at a faster rate. And so as long as I maintain my happy, you only have two choices. You either get happy with me or you go away. And, how many times have you been around somebody, you're happy and they're mad, and they're not happy till you're mad, and then you're mad, you got mad because you lowered your frequency. Well, this is another level where you are, or we are as humanity, are being guided to shift our own frequencies that we're not even recognizing. And this is how another way in which we're perpetuating these relationships and these situations that we don't desire, that you're finding yourself, like I said, around someone, and maybe subliminally they're uncomfortable. And so, we end up wanting to help, wanting to cater, we want to take care of them, we want to do, and we don't realize why we're doing this. And so they think we're controlling because we in essence are controlling it because we're trying to fix that situation. But we then think that they're narcissistic, or they're all about themselves. And so we end up in these dynamics where, there's this push-pull, these relationships that end up in, one person dominating the other one, and all these, and it's all happening from a lot of what is much more of the subliminal energetic energies and frequencies, because we're trying to find a sense of comfort instead of just letting ourselves feel and be. And this feels important, and why this is coming is because, game on, people, our stuff is coming up. and as humanity, stuff comes up, and we have many, many lifetimes. I mean, Sophia Gaia, the earth herself, the stuff's coming up. This is why we're having, we had hurricanes here. I'm in Tampa, Florida, and we have different climate things that are going on. So all this stuff's coming up. So there's a lot of frequencies and energies that are moving around, and it just feels important to just start to have a greater awareness. Let's just take some breaths and really start to notice. It's just another level of noticing, what am I doing? What is my motivation towards what I'm doing? Because that's the key to this. Am I motivated by my authentic self, my heart, my own sense of me, or am I motivated because I'm trying to get out of something or get into something? Okay. Ooh, what a nice energy. That just totally opened up that beautifully. So I think this is a great place to maybe stop and ask for some questions, or see if anybody has any questions. I do see that there's a couple of things here, but I'm going to let my beautiful assistant here.
Yes, this is really beautiful. I think this must have touched many people's heart, because it is really happening every day. We are constantly in all kinds of relationship, and even relationship with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So interesting question from Terry. He asked, what makes human special? In other words, what traits, qualities, functions make human beings different from other galactic beings? What do we have to offer?
Very interesting question. Well, as humans, we are multidimensional galactic beings. So we have a tremendous amount to offer. And I've said it before that, we're considered galactic royalty, truly, because we're made up of, I believe, 23 different galactic species, basically, or consciousness is. And so I think as we are awakening to who we really are, everything that's connected to those particular collectives, we have abilities in relationship to those. And these are things that we are waking up to. And, I think, and I mentioned this before, I think there's a lot of information kind of coming out about our galactic history and who we are. And I feel like that it just allows us to have a greater knowing of, really the differences in who we are. I mean, we can talk about the differences that we see on the planet, whether, we're from the different countries, whether, we come in different colors or ages, or how the different cultural backgrounds. But those cultural backgrounds have roots, if you will, in the galactics. I mean, everything is in relationship to that. And so I really think everything's just kind of been dumbed down. And as we, well, I know it has in many ways, but as we kind of dive in deeper into aspects of what we already know about ourselves, and then allow that to not be limited and to expand, this is how we're going to start to really recognize who we are and how profound we are. And it's funny, being human, I joke about it. I say, I'm just learning how to wear this human suit, because as a human, I'm not sure what that really means, for myself. I think that's what we're really stepping into. What I'm feeling, what it really means is to feel the oneness with the earth in the true law of one, in the true synergy, the true connection. We are not on the earth, we are with the earth, and we are one with the water and with the land and so on, and beginning to recognize that how we think about or feel about, like, say, the water on the earth or water in general, is how we are feeling that about that in ourselves, and we are over 70% water. So it's like having this richer, deeper connection to all things, and this amazing experience of this energy consciousness called Sophia Gaia, or this earth. And it just feels like that being human really is about the exploration of the connectedness of consciousness itself, and all the various different consciousnesses that are here, and us with it. And we just thought, we're just these people that run around and have these jobs and do this, and I've never been able to align with that. That's just, I've always known that there's more. That never made sense to me. It always seemed so, there was no purpose to it, in that way. Not to say that everybody doesn't have their own life, and they do, but to me, there was always something greater. And so this is what I think we're beginning to wake up to and feel is that what is really, really greater, the true experience.
Yeah, that's beautiful. A follow-up question. Terry says, I feel very human, and being human is important to me. Is it okay to ignore galactic origins? I mean, can I just love humanness and humanity?
You can love whatever you want. Absolutely. You can love it. Well, and again, what I'm feeling with you, Terry, is that it's coming from, a little bit of that mental, idea. It's a little bit more of a thought process. And, we are galactic. And I think when we get into the mental of what that's representing, and it's telling a story that doesn't feel good or doesn't feel connected, then I want to kind of push it away. And that's what I feel like is a little bit happening. So, really, how are we defining galactic? It's like we are multidimensional. There is no beginning and end. We're infinite, really. So I think it's terminology, but absolutely, I love being human. I'm really enjoying being in the human suit and being with the earth and having the opportunity to have a physicality, because that's really, I think, the biggest difference is in the human is we have this physicality, this experience. So hope that answered your question, but absolutely.
Yeah. So the next question is from Terry as well. It's interesting. Is that you often say the creator is comprised of shapes or sacred geometry. I think he means are the shapes that container and the container for a motivation. Are these shapes the necessary container for the expression of love?
Okay, I don't know what you just said, so I'm going to have to read that again. Sorry.
Okay, so you often say the creator is comprised of shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Are the shapes the container for a motivation? And are the shape necessary container for the expression of love?
Well, I'm really just using that as examples to try to explain what geometry is. So I'm not sure exactly the question there, but it's really more about, we are love. And so I feel like that it was really just trying to express how we're calibrators, the way that, I see each individuality is a calibrator of source consciousness itself. And it's kind of hard to describe it, but it looks sort of this spherical. It's really more than spherical. It's very multifaceted, infinite, calibrations. It's very difficult to put this into any human language to actually look at. But I'm trying to bring it down small to kind of have an idea, and the love, we are love, and the frequency of love that I'm looking at is infinite, and it does have a synergy with all things. And a comparison to that would be like fear where fear is a chaos frequency and it does not have synergy. It's actually bounces. It doesn't have a rhythm. It doesn't have a connectedness. It only starts as we continue to start it again. And that's why you can't figure out fear. That's why there's nothing to fear but fear itself, because it's a constant, it'll stop. We start and stop it. Whereas love is infinite in calibrations. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah. No, Terry hasn't responded. So we will wait for Terry's feedback, but at the same time, there's one more question, like, can you comment on being in joy, like Joy, while making decisions versus being discerning and wise as the main feeling?
Well, you can be in joy and be discerning and wise all at the same time. It doesn't have to be a differentiation like that. Joy is a more state of being, and the discernment and wise is kind of a discovering of my state of being and where I am and what I'm doing. So to me, it's like the joyfulness of being is the expression, and then the discernment or what you're considering the wiseness would just be the observation of that in that frequency of joy. I mean, that's sort of how I would express that.
Yeah, it feels like it could be inclusive, but not one or other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because the joy is the more the container of the frequency, and the discernment and the wiseness is within it. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, from MC's Play at Ease, how can we support Sophia Gaia with all that is coming up? Do we allow and accept hurricanes, etc., or do we attempt to transmute? Where does our control of nature become the issue?
Well, let's take some breaths with that. What I feel, just taking some breaths with that because I'm expanding the energy. I feel like that Sophia Gaia, the love, it's the love and support as you let go, as you show up as yourself, as you open your own heart, as you connect, as you communicate, that is the supporting and aligning, and whatever it is that you feel in your own individuality. If some people are compelled to, be more in the political and more in these types of arenas of whatever it is to help with climate and different things like that. It depends on where your energetics. My particular energetics is about, recognizing the more templates and the grid systems and so on in relationship to that, and feeling where, if there's something that I might need to do energetically to step in. I feel like that's really the bigger picture in this. There isn't a one answer in that. It's what your geometry is deciding, your library of information is deciding. And that's why the whole thing is get to know you. When we're not coming from little me, when I'm not coming from Cathleena, but I'm coming from the energetic being that is, embodying Cathleena, that's the difference, and this is what we're waking up to. It's like, who really am I? And what is my sense of connectedness? And what is my sense of what I feel is my sense of direction for myself, and having that faith, trust, and surrender in that, and that knowing that you are unique. So, there's no rights or wrongs to it. And it may be something that isn't anybody else is doing, because you're unique to yourself. And it may have a flow to it. So it might be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's all, you get to discover those things. And that's what this container is about too. We're opening that, and I'm supporting that for all of you just by being here.
Yeah, it feels very empowering. And I just feel like sharing, like what you mentioned, you know, we are all here to play our part because we have different sacred geometry, we have different purpose and different signature of the things we are here to create and to support Earth, Gaia, and the humanity. And I remember lately there was a hurricane, and one of a friend living in Bermuda, so she actually was just doing her part in set up a very powerful crystal grid, and then she just went online and, you know, called people collectively to pray for the island, and miraculously the hurricane actually passed by, you know, instead of forecasted to hit the island, it actually went away. So, you know, there are so many things that what we can do. I think it's about hearing what we are being called to participate and to contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. And beautifully said. I love that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So, another beautiful question today. How do we create without controlling?
Okay, hold on one second. Let me just get a little water here. You let go and allow yourself to feel what feels right for you, because that's the thing. We are creators, you know, we are doing it. We are naturally doing it. We're creating all the time. So to become the conscious creator is to allow yourself to feel what you feel. And, you know, if you really, and I think this is part of what the question is to how do I become the conscious creator? Well, you know, if you can have a practice where you're allowing yourself to drop into the 0 point. And what is that? Again, that's the place of no thing and all possibilities. It's your heart space. And so how do I really get there? And how do I know, you know, if I am in the 0 point? So it's like I've got my feet on the floor, I'm looking out my eyes, I'm in my room, and I start to notice, is there a thought? Am I thinking? And if I am, okay, so what is the thought? And what is the emotion? And then notice, what is that emotion doing to this vehicle? Am I tensing? Where am I? Am I truly in the unknown? So if I'm not, then I want to take a breath and let go, you know, just breathe, let go of that. An example might be if I'm, you know, in my space and I think I'm by myself, and suddenly, you know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know where my money's coming from. And I'm like, okay, so I can be in that, oh my God, I don't know. Or I could go, well, I don't know. I don't have any idea. You know, I don't know. So the difference between, oh my God, I don't know, is like I'm tensing, and then it's like letting go and being in that unknown, allowing myself to be in the unknown. But what happens is that we're not taught to be in the unknown. We're taught that it's scary to be the unknown, be in the known. Everything's about being in the known. So you're immediately going to jump back to your head. So we have to, you know, practice allowing ourselves to let go and be in that curious, you know, state. So it's like, okay, I'm noticing my thought, I'm noticing my emotion, taking a breath, and I'm letting go. It doesn't mean the thought's going to go away. The thought's still going to be there. But what starts to notice is I start to notice, what is the emotion I'm giving it, and what is it doing here? More so, what is it doing here? Because this I can do something about. I can breathe, I can let go, I can release that tension. Once I let go of that tension, I'm now in that 0 point. And if in that space I can remember that my thought and my emotion is what's creating, then I can go, well, if I don't know, that means like anything can happen. You know, I could win the lottery, I could get inheritance, somebody could bring something to me. How exciting. And you could start getting excited and bring in, you know, joy and excitement, exhilaration, curiosity, you know, and as you do that, you know, that's you becoming the conscious creator. That's you actually bringing creation into the world, into something that you desire. and you're starting to notice, because this is where we've been dumbed down, and where we bypass is we keep thinking like, oh, well, this doesn't mean anything. If I'm just sitting here dreaming and so on, then that's not going to do anything out in my life. Now, there is something to that. You can't just sit in your home and dream and not do a physical action. You do need to do physical actions, but the difference is that you will know what that physical action is based on you, based on the excitement and the desire, and it will be natural. And things may magically happen. You might suddenly get a phone call that somebody then gives you an opportunity, but you still have to step into the opportunity. That's the motion and the movement. But the energetic will open itself. It's how universal law works. It's who we are. And it's allowing your geometry, your communication as source consciousness to radiate out. Because here's the truth. It's like in the privacy of your own home, when you're by yourself and you're, especially when you're in the 0 point, it's like, and you're dreaming and you're creating an energy. It's like literally a channel's coming out your head, and it's literally sending out a message of that energy, that frequency to the entire planet. And all that is in resonance in that will come to you. Now, there's a momentum in relationship to that. So it's not just like a one and done. It's like, as I build that energetics, as I'm truly excited, I'm really in that. And how do I do that is in that 0 point. If I can truly be in that 0 point and allow myself to expand, it can be very, very fast. I mean, for things for me now are very fast. Instant manifestation, because I'm so comfortable as the 0 point in the 0 point. So it is letting go. It's just, again, we're learning who we are. Okay. We've been dumbed down into thinking that I'm this, I got to go do, that's not how energy works. Okay. It's this vessel is the key to what I'm radiating out and what's going to come into my reality. And the more that I can let go of all that is not me, because I am source conscious, I am the 0 point, I am, in the no thing and all possibilities. That is who I am. And then as I recognize that, then I'm the one that's now the creator. And it's intricate. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I should let everybody breathe it in. It's just so powerful, so beautiful, such a beautiful state.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the next question is interesting as well. Are we all star seeds, or star seed energy is attached to the human soul?
Okay, I need that again.
Are we all star seed, or the star seed energy is attached to the human soul?
Yes, we are all star seeds, basically. I think that it's an interesting thing in that question, because I can feel that there's like this difference, that the individual has this belief system, this difference between galactics and human. And although there is an origination of a being, I guess, of this physical earth, we are the genetics of many, many beings of many different planets. And so, but we are human. And so I think where the confusion keeps coming in is there seems to be in many of you this disconnect, or this idea that the human is separate from the galactic. And in truth, it's not. It is one and the same. There's just elements of, I think that, so yes, everybody is in essence star seeds. There's different degrees of what those are and different degrees of what's come through. But I do think that some may not have some of the original human aspects necessarily, depending on, you know, where their energetics have come from and who they are. And that's a whole other energy that I can see that I'm looking at. But I think it's just in the communication of the wording of human, you know, thinking that that's separate or different. We're not. So hopefully that feels like that brought some clarity.
Yeah, I wonder that, you know, because we all come from the source and all our soul essence, you know, coming from an oversoul and then split to, you know, higher self and then different, you know, parallel lifetimes. And I think I got the feeling that it's all the same, whether the soul is incarnated as a Palladian, there's a soul essence, and there's as a human, it's a essence. So there's no specific type of soul that's called human soul. It's just a soul reincarnated as this human vehicle on this planet. Because Earth is also a galactic star, right? It's also a star in the galaxy. So I don't know if that.
I think it's a lot of terminology, and I'm not as familiar. That's not usually how my energetics work. I mean, I get familiar and I read a lot of different things to get familiar. But yeah, when I'm looking at it energetically and listening to what's being brought in, and you know, trust me, I do not have all the answers. I don't think anybody has all the answers. I think that we are all, you know, just connecting as source. But I agree with you. I say we are all source consciousness, and that's really the soul is the geometry of prime creator, and we're all prime creator. So, but it's just like, what is it made up of? It's more about the DNA, you know, the DNA aspect is where the galactic, and that's the essences. And that's really where the geometry are like the differences of the collectives that come in. And if these are hard concepts, if you're coming from just the mental mind and you're thinking of geometry of just like, you know, what we understand as mathematics, it can be challenging.
Yeah, it's also very interesting when we phrase our question. It also conveys different belief systems or our perception. So yes, Terry have a lovely comment. He said, Cathleena, you see the world like no one else. I know. I wish I could see it from your perspective, even for a few minutes.
Yeah. If I could just like plug in a movie and let everybody see what I see, it would be kind of interesting. Although I think there's there's so many profound beings on this planet. And if each one of us could do that, you know, and this is what we're all here to do. We're all here to share, you know, all of whatever we're here to share. And I think there are many people that could have some very interesting movies to watch.
Yeah. So Melissa asked, can you please talk more about the strong emotional aspects of our unique human makeup?
Is there anything specific in relationship to that?
She does not mention.
Our strong emotional, ask the question again.
Can talk about the strong emotional aspects of our unique human makeup.
Well, yeah, what's coming through is that, you know, the way that I know it is that the origination of this planet was really meant to be the resonance frequencies of love, truth, beauty, and goodness. And so, and all variations of those, and that we have, you know, the ability of the largest range of emotional frequencies of any other planet. You know, we have them all. And then of course, you know, fear's been brought in, and that is a chaos frequency. And then we had the original grid systems. The grid system that was created allows for access points for these authentic frequencies to be recognized and felt and established of this love, truth, beauty, and goodness. This was the origination, but at some point the grid systems were changed, and so those were, the access points to those were cut off. And so humanity had to define what those are on their own. And so this is why we have so many different definitions of like what love is money, or love is, material things, or it's, power or whatever, instead of the authentic expression of love. And the authentic expression of love is like a fluidity. It's very hard to quantify or to express in words. You have to be able to allow yourself to feel it, and you can feel it when you drop into that 0 point, allow yourself to have an experience. And to me, what love feels like is it feels all of the emotions of like joy and excitement, exhilaration, that all of those are encompassed within love, within this frequency. Truth is the 0 point. And so divine truth, it's not like there is a truth. Divine truth is the no thing in all possibilities. That's where we discover. So we discover our truth by our own expression, and this is through the emotions, and beauty and goodness and beauty. The old saying, right? Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Well, it is that recognizing the energetics of that and goodness as well. These are the authentic resonance frequencies of what has been originated here, and all expressions of them. So I think as we allow ourselves to have that as a belief system, and knowing and saying this is sort of our birthright of these more expanded, light, beautiful frequencies, well, if we allow ourselves to engage in those, this entire Earth experience becomes very, very different in all ways. To me, it's how we can have the love and appreciation for the water itself, or the land, or Sophia Gaia, or so many things. I mean, there's so much to that, So I'm just bringing that in the expression of it, and I open that energy field for it to allow you guys to feel more of that. Hopefully that answers that as well.
Hey, lovely. So next question, I hope you could feel into the energetics. Is control, quote unquote, to be the vehicle that surrenders after asking for the seeming paradox of, for example, being unconditionally loving with physical pain and intending for it to be fully released to source?
We read that as control of the view. Yes, I'd say that in that way it is control. Yes, but it's also control of the pain of carrying it. We don't realize that we are embracing it in some way, because in order for us to have it, we're choosing that experience. And that's the other piece about being able to drop into the 0 point, is whatever current energy that I'm in or feeling or whatever, I have to own how it's serving me, even when I think it's not, whether it's pain or whether it's a sickness or illness or something, because I am source consciousness having this experience. So somehow I've chosen that experience. And that's when we have to have, that recognition on how is it serving me. And that's, this is when I give my example of when I used to wake up in the morning and feel, I'd hear that dialogue that I'm such a failure. And I would like race around and try to get things done. And then I woke up one morning and I heard, you're such a failure. And I began to pay attention. As I said, I listened to my thought, I felt the emotion, and I realized there was some comfort in that. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't judge it. I just noticed it. I was like, oh, there's comfort in me dialoguing I'm a failure. Like, okay. So the next day I wake up, and of course I'm still hearing it because it doesn't just go away. But now I can say, well, you know what? I might not know what success is, but I know I don't want to feel that. And so now I'm actually in the unknown. And what began to happen is I started to have this like, well, what really is success and what really is failure? And, what am I saying? And whose voice is this? And what am I doing to myself? And so this is things we start to recognize. And so when we have these these pains, this discomfort, we have, if we're able to be the witnessing observer of it, because we're never the victim, that's not part of our existence. We're source consciousness. And we just begin to be the observer of like, okay, so what is this about in my reality? Why am I choosing this in my reality from a bigger perspective? How is this serving me in my world? Because once we have that recognition of how it's serving you, that's when it becomes a match. And that's when I can then move it away from me in my reality.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So picking up from what you said, that you used to feel this thought, I'm a failure. So I'm curious that when we, other than doing the conscious, being the conscious observer, so when we sometimes do activation, we do meditation, we are having the intention to release the sacred geometry or release that limiting belief thought. So I'm curious, what is it happening when we do the energy work? Is that, I hope that question does not, I think the question comes from the mind, but I'm just really curious because how do we, a lot of people just keep doing the meditation and healing and hoping energetically just remove that limiting belief.
Well, okay, so it's the same thing. If I'm saying remove the limiting belief, but I'm holding that belief, how's it going to go? You see what I'm saying? So there's a couple of things. If I'm in the 0 point, and because I am source consciousness, and I'm in a physical body, and the ascension process is we're inscending, basically we're bringing more of ourself into or connecting with this physical body, because I am a 5th dimensional or higher being. The body's vibrating at a 3rd dimensional rate. And so, it's the body that's actually releasing these energies and frequencies. So we're doing activations and we're releasing the frequencies and energies, we're releasing them from the body, in that 0 point presence. But if I am then in myself, forgetting that I'm source consciousness and being in that 0 point, and I become, say, Cathleena, in that dialoguing to myself, it won't matter how many times I, release this from my energetic field, if I'm still holding it within my mind space. You see what I mean? I'm identifying as it. And this is where, again, the, humanity is kind of been duped in this whole idea of health too, because it's like, we'll do this whole thing of like, I pray for, to be healed, to be fixed, but that means that I'm owning the sickness, and so there's this interesting kind of dichotomy there. It's sort of like, okay, what do I do with that? And it's this recognition of like, I'm already healed, and I'm just allowing for that energetic to come into my field, and having that, I'm welcoming it in, I'm welcoming in the healing frequency that's already taken place, so it's like that recognition, instead of like, I'm broken, I need to be fixed. We're not broken ever. And so this is where it gets a little bit interesting in the energy, it's like, okay, what, because because we're in a physicality, and we do have a time matrix and so on, there are these elements of something that might have a little bit of a sequence in order for it to be released from my physicality or my energetic field or whatever, and so there might be certain things to do, that might come into place. And then that's what we're doing through the activations, is we're working through layers and levels and removing timelines, all sorts of things, getting to the root aspect of where I'm holding that energetic. And that goes back to that us as like this puzzle piece, if I'm this puzzle piece, and I'm not like a flat puzzle piece, I'm more of this sort of spherical puzzle piece energetically, that when I let it freely move, then what happens is it has a beautiful synergistic connection to all things that are, in resonance with me. That's the idea of even my physical body, the more of that letting go. But it's like, what am I doing? Where am I holding? What am I holding? Am I scared? And this is how this inverted matrix works. It's that, you know, we end up getting something and you say, I don't know how I got it in my body and whatever's happening, and then we become afraid, which creates more of it. So it's the letting go of it, and it's the knowing and letting go of it, and it's making that decision, knowing that it's me. I'm making this decision, but it's got to be authentic, because I have people who can do that and say, you know, I'm really letting go, but deep inside they're still afraid, or deep inside, you know, it's just like I said, we're energy and frequency, and so it's the whole name of the game is letting go. That's control's a huge one. You know, it's recognizing where am I controlling it. Faith, trust, and surrender, letting go, knowing I'm source consciousness.
Wow, that beautifully concludes our session today. Do you feel like offering a short activation for closing?
Yeah, let's just do a little bit of bringing all this together for anyone, and see if there's any just kind of last question or anything. It seems like everything looks pretty good here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just bring this in. Everybody take some nice deep breaths. It is done. It is so. It is done. It is so. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am that. I am source. I am sovereign. And I am free. So it is. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Cathleena. Such a beautiful time. And thank you for bringing through such profound, sounding simple, but actually profound wisdom for us to go through this process.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for co-hosting with me again. We're having lots of fun here. And thank everybody, you know, thank you guys for all participating in this. And please, you know, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and share if you can, if you like this information, so we can get it out. And if you're interested, there's also a donation for us being here if you choose to. That's also an option. So love everyone here. Thank you. And look forward to seeing you guys again next week. All right. Good night.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.